when it comes to last season, you finished off with a bang, winning in Mont-Saint-Anne in Canada. How did you take that into your off period, and how did that help you prepare for 2024?
Yes, it was cool to finish the season on this note. So this year it's a special year because of the Olympics, and I built my season for the Olympics. So I know I'm not at the top of my shape at this moment, and it's normal. And I build my season step by step, and it will be a very good experience and training these 2 weeks to build this season.
Um, you said the approach, the upcoming season, you're feeling a different kind of pressure, or at least not really any pressure, and it's kind of got you destabilized a bit. It's a weird feeling, you said on social media.
In the end, we are always waiting for the first World Cup of the season, and mostly that's the first highlight, and we try to imagine what's going to happen, but in the end we actually don't know. And I think in the end what I've posted, I will leave it behind me and just race for sure. But no, this winter actually has been pretty classic, and what I want to try this year a little bit in particular, or a bit more precisely, is that I think I've recently or in the past not have been brave enough to focus on few events, or let's say 1 or 2 highlights of the season. This year it's pretty easy to say, we focus on Olympics in first place, secondly World Champs in Andorra.
In Mont-Saint-Anne, we were talking after that when you took the title. You said, I still don't realize what's just happened. How long did that take to process, and did that change anything in your preparation for this season?
I'm not sure if I processed it yet, to be honest. No, really. I moved from one place to another in the off season, so 3-4 weeks were needed to do this. And it was a stressful time, and then the last week of my proper off season without training, I really thought, wow, now I have to take myself back and try to process this. But every time, I think I'm really not at this point that I've processed everything. But I don't know if you can ever get to this point. But I think we carry on. That's what we mostly do, and that's fine.
The calendar format has changed this year. We've changed the day of the short track, the time of the short track. How is that going to affect you? Do you think, as someone who really likes the short track format, its new position in that weekly calendar, does that affect anything for you?
So in general, I think I can say from the moment of today, I prefer the Friday evening, since first of all I'm an evening person, I would say, so full gas in the evening is easier than in the morning, for me at least. But on the other hand, I think you or the organization has its reasons to do this, so for sure I will accept it and try to do my best. But in the end, I also think like the people in my environment, they always said, oh, it's super nice after the work on Friday evening to watch the race in TV. So I don't really understand it at the moment, but for sure we have our reasons to do this, and in the end it will be fine.
Savannah, great to have you here once again. I have one question for you. You're one of the few Americans, North Americans, to ride on a European team. How's that been working for you?
Yeah, it's been a really incredible experience. It's actually my first factory team that I'm racing for, and as an American trying to chase a World Cup dream, it's really difficult because most of the season the races are all the way in Europe. and it's really challenging to find the resources and the support to chase that dream. So the team has really given me that opportunity, and it's been incredible to have the support and resources in Europe, and it's really given me the support and belief in myself that I needed to chase the dream and step up my game.
Has it been a launching board for the off season where you kind of put, as we said with Luca, you try to process things, you try to analyze the way the season went, but does something like that give you that extra little oomph to train harder, to aim higher, and especially as it is an Olympic year, we can't leave that out of the equation. Was that something that motivated you?
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a point somewhere halfway through the year last year that something changed for me. I think we had a long period of break between World Cups, and I was really able to put in a really good training block in my home where I was comfortable, and I wasn't traveling and living out of a suitcase in Europe like I'm doing most of the year. And then finish the season with races that I always knew I was capable of, but was able to really put all the pieces together. So I feel like from that point, I've really carried that momentum, and my goals and aspirations have just kind of gotten higher and higher, and I've really carried that momentum throughout the off season, and we've been really focusing on these races and this whole year. So I'm excited to see where that.
Well, talking about that motivation and also that inspiration to keep things going, winning the race here at the Mountain Bike Festival last week, it was a deep field. A lot of the women that are here for the World Cup were here also. That must have really gave you some wings to start this season off.
Yeah, I've actually put a really big focus on these races because they are big Olympic qualifiers for us, as I think they are for a lot of people. And I've actually moved my training base to Europe the last 3 months, so that's been a big investment. And just I've focused on the preseason racing, doing a lot of high-level races just to kind of put myself into that competition.
You did not get to spend a lot of time in Switzerland this winter. You were actually trying out cyclocross, you said, for the first time, and also you spent a lot of time in South Africa, so very little downtime at home in Switzerland.
Well, yeah, that's actually true, because I wanted to make the best out of this winter, but when the season finished, I had my time at home, I didn't travel. So I spent off-season at home, which was very good, and then I went, as you said, to Belgium for some cyclocross. It was like one of the reasons to do it was to get even more pieces into my toolbox, and that was also an investment from my side. And then I traveled to South Africa for a longer period, which my boyfriend was there, my family was there, so it felt like my second home, to be honest. And I really know that I can train well there and build up my season 2024 in South Africa, because I have good emotions there, and I know I have the whole infrastructure I need. And that's how I spent my winter, and I actually like the warm weather.
2023 was a very rewarding season for you once again. Second in the overall XCC standings, fifth in the overall XCO, and fifth at the World Championships. Was it satisfying for you as an athlete after winning the overall in 2022, or did it force you to change things for your prep for 2024?
Honestly, it was a good season. It was not the best one, but in 2022, it was like a breakthrough. And I mean, being there once is one thing, but being there the next year is the other thing. And I think that gave me confidence and also like a base to build up the Olympic year and actually make the qualification.
On that subject, a lot of competition to gain one of the spots for the Swiss women's Olympic team this year. How does that translate, this kind of new motivation when you look at that? Because we talked in Mont-Saint-Anne last year, how it's kind of a difficult battle in the Swiss team to get to those spots that are allocated. How are you approaching that? With what kind of mentality are you looking at? Still, once again, trying to control what you can control as an athlete and as a person?
Yes, exactly. It's what you said. And I mean, yeah, we have 2 spots. We have basically 5 or even more riders to make it to the Olympics. And to me, it's just basically being the best in the world also brings me a position at the Olympics. But yeah, I focused for sure on the early races or World Cup races to make the qualification, which is step 1, to actually make it there. But yeah, I already tried it twice and didn't make it. So for me, it's also a bit a different kind of view on the Olympics. Yeah, because it doesn't, like when you make it, doesn't, if you make it to the Olympic doesn't mean you're not the best in the world, especially with such a high level in one country. And yeah, it's for sure that it's a big goal of mine, and I try whatever is possible and hopefully make it, yeah.
How's the transition been since that moment of retiring in snowshoe? Is it hard not to be racing at home here this weekend?
Oh, it's been insanely busy lately, but I've been enjoying. For sure, it's not an easy choice to be taken at any point. We do that because mainly we love to do that. We love bike racing. It's, I would say, for the majority of the riders, it's not a job. It's not what you're trying to earn in your life, but it's basically our passion, our big love. And it's been hard to let few things go. There are a few retired guys in the room. They probably understand me better. Not really, huh? But it's been great because I felt that I left the professional side of the sport where I was on a place that I still have a huge passion. So the heart was pumping for the sport, so I could put the same energy into some other stuff.
We were talking earlier on before the press conference started, and you said something that was very, very interesting. And as you mentioned in your first answer, you had to carry a lot of the glory, a lot of the pressure of being at the forefront of Brazilian mountain biking for over a decade. And now that you're working with Enrique Kauloy and some of the younger up-and-coming riders, it's not all about numbers. It's not all about watts. It's not all about performance, podiums, and things like that. One thing that you're really trying to teach the younger generation is patience, is give yourself time. And that's something that you've already seen paying dividends for some of these younger Brazilian athletes?
Absolutely. I think that's a key point, you know, I would say for those riders racing at a very top level, but also for the riders trying to get there. They need to be patient. And one thing as a Brazilian that I know is that once you show just a tiny possibility of getting there, the amount of pressure, it's huge. So I had to deal with a lot of pressure and expectations during a really long time, and I had to work for that, and it was very satisfying to me to achieve what I achieved over the years, because mainly I could catch a lot of attention into the sport in Brazil, but at some point, as I mentioned, you know, like several times, it became too much in a way that I was too much of the face of the sport in Brazil.
Who are some of the young riders, women and men, that we should really pay attention as of this weekend already?
Well, I think there are 2 riders that are good ones to watch. Juliana Salvini on the under 23 women. She's riding for the track Future Racing, and also Alex Malacane, he's riding for the Trinity Racing. And I think it's very nice that they are racing for development programs, because, you know, at times those guys, they catch enough attention, they are enough of celebrities to be on bigger teams, but they're not ready mentally or physically to deal with the pressure and to deal with the higher expectations. When you talk to an European, a young European, they are usually very able to look, you know, like further forward. So they are a little bit more patient, and even if they are successful as juniors or under 23s, they don't have that self-perception that, okay, now I'm the king of the place, you know, I'm a big star.
A respeito, logicamente, da estrutura desse lugar onde nós estamos, qual é a principal mudança desde a etapa da Copa do Mundo de Petrópolis, que é a sua terra natal, para essa etapa aqui de Mairipora?
So he asked about the differences, specifically in between Petropolis and here Mairipora. And there are obviously some changes due to the change of the type of organization that we have now. But talking specifically about the tracks, Petropolis built the course from the scratch. And the idea was to bring something a little bit more challenging and mainly a little bit more plastic. So I think the goal was totally different from Mairipora. Mairipora, the idea behind is to offer a nice racetrack. So it's not maybe the most challenging track, but it's going to be nice to watch the race. I think it's going to be tight, it's going to be intense. You raced that last week, and racing here tends to be tight. So I think it's a great opening round.
The Ford factory racing team is looking pretty good and fast at the moment. What's the vibe there at the moment?
It's a French vibe. It's good. Yeah, everybody is gunning really hard for the Olympics as Olympic year. So yeah, there's been a lot of focus and support around this trip, and yeah, everybody has individual goals, but we're all able to support each other and yeah, respect everyone's different goals of the year and also where they come from, the environment they come from, and yeah, it's really interesting and cool to be a part of such a different group of riders than I'm used to being around, a bunch of Americans. So yeah, I'm enjoying the experience.
What is the key section, you think, where the race could be won or lost?
I don't know, but I think I don't race the last week, so there is very steep climbs. The downhill are very fast, and I think the key section will be the transition between the both.
Do you think it's more for a technically skilled rider or a rider with a big engine this round?
Well, I guess to be in the top spots, you need both. So actually, to go down in such a high speed also needs technical skills. And yeah, everyone will be at the limit, over the limit. So having your bike and yourself under control is also a skill. So the engine will be for sure important, but also having a smooth line, having a good line, and having all the corners right, even under pressure, because it will be tight, especially with the tactical aspect. So I think it will be a mix of everything. You can't break it down on one piece, and I guess that was the goal when they built the track.
How did you bring your experience racing all over the world, and especially in Brazil, to build your own track and to help building the track here, and at least inspiring the track here? Did the track in your hometown just get a little advantage in your strengths, and here is just more about the show?
No, as a rider, I always enjoyed like the hard races and the fast races. So I was usually doing much better when I was riding fast. That helped me a lot. So it's also like connected to our races in Brazil culturally and historically. We are always like racing this type of tracks. Petropolis was more, like how to create something shocking visually to the riders and especially to the spectators. So the goal behind that was slightly different from here. I think over here was just I changed quite a few things on the traditional profile of the course, and the idea was just to add some small bits to keep the action going. So you still have the transitions, you still have the steep climbs, the downhills are really fast, but there's always like something tiny to kind of like put some attention, and they look like not really important when you're riding easily, but once you raise that, and the race pace, it's so high here, you know, like you keep just on the red all the time. It's so intense. It's so nice to race, but also so painful on the other hand. And it's easy to make mistakes, you know, towards the end of the race, especially because they're going to be racing numbers. They're going to have, you know, like, it's, I would say, very, very hard that we're going to see someone riding away and winning with a minute margin. It's going to be tight.